than your currency. Splurging millions, buying houses like Monopoly. Fucking 9 to 5, man, the money is a joke to me. Buying cryptocurrency, my money in the privacy. I make it rain dollars, they watch me disappear. I'm so fly, man, I'ma need some land again.
Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the No.B.S. with Birchy podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Birch. This is a show unraveling the truth to the facade of the 21st century. We're now exiting the Matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. And the reality is that, there's levers that get pulled that are out of our control. And today I'm going to be talking about something, it's a very typical sort of conversation in the market at the moment. And it's sort of, everyone's talking about a recession, right? Before we're going into a recession, we're not in a recession yet, but we definitely are. They haven't reported on it yet, but everything's screwed up out there. I've actually been talking for about 5 years about a depression, which is even worse than a recession. But the reason why, a lot of people are scared. You talk about a recession, people are like, oh no, I'm fearful of this or I'm fearful of that. I am so fucking happy. I wish that shit would crash. I wish that everything would go on sale. I wish everyone would flee, whatever, right? When you have a recession, there's so much opportunity, right? When you have a depression, there's even more opportunity. No one's going to hand over you their stuff if they don't have to. No one's going to hand over their stuff if they're happy. There's uncertainty and the doubt and all that sort of stuff, the fear that's out there. Creates stupid decisions. And stupid decisions means that there's opportunities to be able to capitalize on that. I might sound like a prick, but, it is what it is, and someone has to say it, and I'm just saying it because, I don't wish bad upon people, right? But people are selling their life to go and do certain things, or they're selling a property. Who'd want to take cash, right? I don't want money, right? I would never sell an asset willingly over, cash, right? And people are out there going, oh, yeah, I want to sell my house because they said on the news it's really scared. Well, great. Keep thinking it's scary. Keep wanting to sell your assets, and I'll keep wanting to buy them. And I guess, how rich people or wealthy people out there, look at money is very different to that of someone that's not rich, right? If we look at the rich versus the non-rich, you would have, for me being excited, I'm not persuaded by fear. I'm not controlled by fear. A person that might be not so well off would be very forced by fear. They make decisions based on fear. So when you, look at, what side of the game you want to be on, you need to look at, okay, if I want to be wealthy financially, or if I want to be poor, what would be the attributes of each one of those people? What does a poor person act like? What does a wealthy person act like? A wealthy person doesn't drive around and go, oh, look at my Louis Vuitton belt. Look at my Louis Vuitton wallet. Look at my Louis Vuitton handbag. Look at my, Prada. I don't even know what shit. I just know Louis Vuitton because I've got a couple of bits of Louis Vuitton over the years given to me and whatnot. People don't go and go, oh, look at my BMW that I just rented. People are wealthy would just be like, this is what it is, right? They make different decisions, and they make decisions based on logic and generally not based on emotion. So, looking at poor people, they may not have a budget, right? Probably don't have a budget. They might have a budget because they've made different decisions. And looking at a wealthy person, they would have a budget. They know every dollar that's coming in, and they know every dollar coming out. They know what the gap is, and they know what to do with that money, right? Are they just keeping it as cash? I've got wealthy people that just have cash, and it's like you've worked hard, you've performed the tricks to go and earn the cash, but you're becoming a poor person very, very fast because that cash isn't buying what it used to buy you, right? So understanding how money works, understanding, a rich person or wealthy person might be sitting there, trying to improve their personal, knowledge base to be able to make better decisions. A poor person will be like, okay, let's go and order Taco Bell and get, I'm making people sound like they're from America, right? But let's go and get Taco Bell and watch Netflix and watch this stupid new movie series that's coming out. So you got to look at, what's the content? What are you feeding yourself? What are you feeding your mind? What is the outcome of those decisions that are occurring? A wealthy person knows, where their cash flow is coming from. A wealthy person knows what to do with their cash flow once it comes in. A poor person goes, 3 beers and a pack of smokes and, I've got nothing left over. It's like, well, what sacrifices, what commitments, what are you doing to change that? And a lot of people on a wealthy scale would be sitting there going, okay, I need to improve my cash flow and bring in more income, right? A poor person will be thinking, how can I save something, right? And it's the whole mindset around that. And in a recession, the worst thing that you could want to do or be in, this is the worst position you could be in, is look back in, 5 years from now and go, fuck, I really missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime with a recession. I could have bought everything cheaper. How many people say, oh, I wish I bought this, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. I sit here and say, I wish I had bought my property, I wish I had done this, but I could only do what I could do on the day based on my mindset, based on everything that I had around me, and I could only make those decisions. You'll never see me go through a market and go, oh, it's a boom, it's a bust, or whatever the case may be, and go, shit, I'm just going to do nothing. I'm always trying to improve my position. I know my business, I know my skill. When I say my business, I don't mean the B.Invested group or the Birch group or any of the other sort of auxiliary companies. I'm talking about I know my business around my property portfolio. And that's, ideally, where most people will make their wealth from in this, time that we're going into. So if we are looking at a recession, think about it. If you are scared of recession, your finances aren't set up. If you're excited by a recession, well, you've got knowledge of how to take advantage of the recession. So if you're still scared of it, then work out what options are there to be able to, what things do I have to go and, take advantage of this opportunity. So I think having a strategy, like I talk about goals a lot, and every year I plan my goals for the next year and work on where I want to be, the person I want to become, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, all those sort of things. But have a strategy, have a business plan for you, for your life. How are you going to, make things happen? I'm looking at this market and I'm like, well, the banks may not lend to me, right? This is just something, I'll just share with you something personally. Like the banks, I've blown the banks up. Like they sit there and go, oh, you can't service, you can't get a loan, whatever the case may be. So it's like, okay, well, how will I make my deals happen? So I can see there's people that are full of fear. I'm going to go out there and do not options, right? So let's just be very clear on that. I'm going to do structured deals, right? So whether it be, there's all these different types of instruments. I'm not going to go into it, but there's different instruments that you can create. I can literally create, like, I'll use an example of something. I just bought a random business, right? It was 750K. Let's just call it that. 750 grand for a business. It'll bring in 500 grand a year, right? Out of that 500 grand a year, I might have 300 grand in profit, 250 grand in profit. Let's call it 250K in profit. I paid 750. So I'm getting a 30% return, 33% return per annum. Do I go out there and earn 750K and then go and give the 750K to go get nothing? No. Am I going to go get a loan on that property? No. What I did is I did a structured buyout of that business, right? How do I do it? Well, the person, I paid them some cash up front so they could go off and do their thing. But on the side, what I did is I went and gave a property title. And that's because I've built up my asset base. I've got heaps of unencumbered property. People go, oh, I'm sure Nathan's got heaps of debt. He's going to go, right, well, last time I got loans was like nearly a decade ago, right? So what I buy now, I have to buy cash or do some other sort of creative deal around it. So what I did is I gave a first mortgage over a motel that was worth 500 grand. And I said, here is a undertaking on that property, and I'll take your business. And they're like, well, that's fine. Each month, Nathan's going to do a figure of, X amount of dollars. And I'm basically using the cash flow coming from that business to go and pay. It's called a buyout, to pay out the old owner of the business. So what options do you have? Are you thinking like two-dimensional, oh, the bank turned around and said I can't go get a loan? Or are you thinking, shit, I've got options here. The bank said I can't go get a loan. How am I going to get this? I have something I want to get. What do I have, and how can I piece together a deal to be able to try and make that happen, right? And that's the opportunities, right? There's markets. People are going to be petrified. If you go back 6 months ago, everyone's like, oh, get the fuck out. I'm not going to give you my house for that. Get out. I'm not going to do a deal like that. I think nothing more exciting when sitting there going, oh, well, I can't afford to pay you. I will pay you what you want, or I will pay you to get out of it, but I can't really pay you on that. I have to do this. This is how I can make it happen, or this is what I have to do to make that happen. So I've got more power in this time to be able to make as much shit happen as I can. And with my assets and with what I've got, how can I move forward and make things happen? Most people sit there and go, oh, well, I can't have it happen. Let's go. That's just what it is. So as a wealthy person going through a recession, they'll try and understand their risks, right? If you sat in your household and go, what are my risks, right? Where do most of my expenses go to? How can I diversify my income? Do you just have one income coming from a job? Do you have one income from a job and then a big expense to a car loan and a big expense to your mortgage and then a big expense to a negative geared property? A negative geared property is shit. I've always said it. I said it from 15 years ago on these YouTube videos. So, do you have a grasp on where your money is coming in, where it is going to is very important. But, have you diversified your income, right? People go, why are you in the tourism space, Nathan? Well, is there an issue with rents coming through in properties? I don't know. I've got lots of rents. My income comes a lot in from rents. I've got a lot in property-based businesses. I've got income coming in from tourism. Now I've got income coming in from food. Now I've got income coming in from all these different sort of sources. And it's like, how do you diversify and minimize the risk? If you turned off your tap from your job, which a lot of people had happen over the last 2 years, and, do you need multiple streams of income? Everybody needs many streams of income. You need, 100 streams of income. The more streams you've got, the more cash flow coming through. Someone asked me earlier today, hey, Nathan, how much buffer do you have in your bank account? I literally have it at zero balance at all times, right? And I put a little disclaimer in that. It's because I know that I've got cash flow coming through. I look at my phone and constantly throughout the day I've got, here's cash, here's cash, here's cash. I could literally wake up with $500,000 and go to bed with no money in my bank account. I'm so excited because when I wake up, there's more money coming through. And that's because I want to have cash flow streams coming into my bank account. And, I think that's a big difference between myself today at 37 compared to myself 20 years ago at the age of 17. I had a scarcity mentality. I had a fearful mentality. I was born up with that. Nowadays I have, an abundance mentality, and it's not just like sitting and holding your hands and fucking singing Kumbaya after watching some sort of motivational Tony Robbins sort of speech. It's, there's, I'm looking to expand that, right? I'm looking to constantly expand and grow. And I think a lot of people will just batten down the hatches and be fearful. And that could be the dumbest single thing that most people will do. And that's why people will be in a recession, because their mindset is in a recession. Talking about a depression, right? Are you talking about a depression of your mindset and your spirit, or are you talking about a depression of the financial market out there? And they're very closely interwound. I did have some other little notes here. The wealthy will realize that sort of getting rich is a process. Paul will think it's instant gratification or it's showing off something. Hey, I've got a car. I must be so expensive. Well, I have to sit at the table now. I've got a really cool key. Here's a fucking $500 Mitsubishi Magna that I'm driving around. I don't give a shit. I've got Bentleys, G-Wagons, all different things. I had $1 million worth of cars in my old office. I'm waiting for new cars to come in. So, but I'll drive whatever, right? I understand it's a process. I understand it's a journey. I understand that when I hop in my new car, it'll feel better than driving this fucking piece of shit, right? But most people are like, oh, look at my watch. You don't see me with watches. You see me with shirts that have no logos on. You don't see me sitting here. They're always plain, right? I never have a logo. This one here's a little logo on the side, but it's just because it's a good fitting shirt, and it's it's not an expensive one. It's like a $20 basic shirt. So I realised that the process, the journey. When I look back and go, I did that. That's what I did 10 years ago. Wow, that was fucking stupid. But that's what I had to do on the day to push myself forward. And I had clarity, and I had a vision, I had a plan, and I knew where I was going to get to where I want to be. So I guess if we look at past sort of recessions, the really wealthy people came out of nowhere, right? And I hate all these people that you see on TV. I hate these Warren Buffett, right? I'm Elon Musk, right? I think some of these guys are some of the most evil and bad people out there, right? And I don't mean it like, we're not going into that sort of thing as well, right? But you just think about the control that they have over governments, the control they have over people, the lobbyist groups, and the certain things they implement on people to enforce their lifestyle to keep them suppressed. That's why I don't like it. But anyway, I can relate to them, right? When I say relate to them, most people know who they are or whatever, right? So if we look at in 2008, I think it was like Elon Musk. He said he was living on his mate's floor. He had put all his money in these businesses that are about to blow up, but he put all these chips on the table. Right? Look at the bloke now. He's like, I'm the richest guy in the world. I don't know anything about the bloke, but he says he's the richest guy. There's all these shares and stuff that he can be valued at owning because he owns parts of shares. This guy put all these chips on the table because he made strategic moves during that period of time. You see people like Warren Buffett, they go, I've taken my cash, and in this time, what is it he's saying? Fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. that is because he's playing a game of chess, right? And looking at 2001, you had the dot-com bust, you've had the boom, you've had the Y2K bug, you've had the September 11, you had a lot of fear out there. A lot of people rose from that and they had the biggest boom ever based on the back of that. You had 2006, 2007, you saw the GFC, you then saw 2008, 2009. Those moves that people made in 2008, 2009, they made fucking intergenerational wealth and changes to the whole family tree during that period of time because of the decisions they made, and they saw the opportunity in that. You see what's happened over the last 10 years. It's just been pretty boring, right? It's just been like all the suckers have come in and been put in the position to push up the value of everyone else's wealth. So we look at now, and we look at 2020, where we saw, with the world thrown into the scam, and we've got all these things that are happening, and we're going to print out all this money. Everybody was fearful. When I was behind, bro, it was like, I remember coming to my office every day in 2020, and I had one of my mates who was working. He's moved to Queensland now. He still, does work with us. His name's Bo, and I remember walking to the car park, right? And Bo was staying at my house when he worked in the office, because he worked in the office a couple of days a week. He'd stay at my house. We'd come to the office in the morning. We'd do work. He helped out with streamline a lot of stuff. Great job. And I remember laughing to Bo, right? And I was like, bro, look at this. There's fucking no one. I remember driving for 40 minutes each way to go and check out a property and of a night time. And there was not one car on the road, right? Like you could just drive through red lights. There was nothing on the road, right? And that was so exciting, right? I'd come in the office, there was no one in the office building, right? Everyone's literally shitting bricks about, what's going to happen, right? They're scared and whatever. I remember sitting in the basement, I got out and looked, there was nothing in the basement, no cars. And I was like, bro, I'm so fucking happy, right? Your energy, you're so cool, right? Like we get what's going on, we understand what's going on. I couldn't picture having more fun in this period of time, apart from having you hopping out of the car right now, us going to the office and taking over the world, right? There were vendors that I was speaking to, owners that I was speaking to, agents that I was speaking to, and they're like, oh, Nathan, the owner will take this offer, blah, blah, will you buy? The world, not just your house got locked down, but the whole fucking world came to a lockdown, right? And in that period, people didn't know if the fucking alien was going to land and probe them or whatever, right? And in that minute, people were letting go of assets out of fear, uncertainty, doubt, all that sort of stuff. We are now in a position where there's a bit of interest rates going up and inflation's hitting us and lots of bad negativity in the press. I'm waiting for that opportunity, right? I haven't seen it yet. If that opportunity comes, that's when you jump on and go, fuck, I can pick this thing up. So, Jim, what are you scared about? You were happily spending $90,000 for Bitcoin 12 months ago. You were happily spending hopping into a Dutch auction, buying a property with no pest building, finance, due diligence. You're going unconditional, not even having a loan on the property. There were people out there doing that shit, right? But now everyone's going, you can get it on sale. Everyone's running around. It's like, you're telling me you were that fucking cocky because you jumped into some FOMO and you don't want to go and make a decision now because you've got the control. This is a time to control the markets. It's a great time if you are a buyer. It may not be the best time if you're a seller. Go and make deals. Right? You will look back at this period of time and go, shit, I wish, what would you wish you'd done in 2020? What would you wish you'd done in 2008? What would you wish that you'd done in 2001? What would you wish that you'd done back in 1992? I guess having a plan as to what you can do during these flat times and, these glitches in the markets, a lot of people will sit there and be like, I bought a property, it's turned shit. I bought it for 300, it should have been 500 by now, it's a dud, it's worth 280. No, you bought it at the fucking top of the market, right? That's what you did. The markets are not linear, right? Markets go up, they go down, sideways, up, down, sideways, whatever, right? It's a part of the process. But if you can know when you can go, okay, cool, that's cheap, right? Idiots paid more last year, I can go get it now. That's the opportunity, because those idiots will come back to the table and they will play. And that's when the opportunity is, because they'll push the price of the asset up. You want to take the assets. So work out, a strategy about how you can. Wealthy people will have strategies about how they can protect. I keep saying what you want to do, right? But what you want to do is what I'm trying to tell you to do, to try and be the wealthiest that you can be and take advantage of this, right? Wealthy people will have a plan. They will have a strategy. They will know their parameters. They'll exhaust all options that they've got. I would not ever give up on a deal or strategy, making something. If I'll fucking want something, I'll do whatever it takes, right? And I look at every different angle. I have a plan A, a plan B. Most people look at a two-dimensional, oh, they said, no, I can't go do it. But no, I'm looking at, okay, what do I need to do to go and do it? What steps can I take to make this happen? Is it option 1, 2, 3, 4? Do I have to be more creative with my option of what I can create? And work out what you can do to maximize your ability at this point in time. Work out how to protect your wealth during the recession. And I've made a few little notes here beforehand, right? This is my parting notes. In a recession, and a higher interest rate environment, whatever, now is the time, I guess, for smart investors to go out there. They will go cool. They'll move the chess piece, right? I fucking hate it. I stopped buying, I talked about beforehand, I stopped buying in the Gold Coast because it's too hot. I stopped buying in areas of Sydney because it's too hot. I've been buying in different markets, right? If the markets crash, I'll come in and, I'll be bringing my ambulance. That's why I bought a big truck for, guys. The big truck's coming. I'll load up all that shit in the back of the truck, right? That's the opportunity. So, how many times have you said, if only I bought 3 years ago, if only I bought 2 years ago, if only I bought 5 years ago? 5 years ago, 2 years ago, when the fucking lockdown, everyone's being headless chook running around stupidity, what were you doing? Think about, what were you doing? You were fearful. What was holding you back? Why didn't you do it? A lot of people have taken action, right? So kudos. But, do you want to be sitting here on the other side going, shit, I was scared, I shouldn't have, whatever, and then go and buy the next bubble, right? Go and buy the next hot market? Be very strategic with it. If only I bought 5 years ago, if only I bought 3 years ago, why is now not the time, right? Question to ask. Don't be fooled by interest rates, right? The media will tell you stuff. The controlling entities will, like whether it be the central bank, whether it be government, right? Who wants to fucking trust the government, right? Who trusts the government? Get fucked, right? The hell of it is people are getting fearful of interest rates and certain things like that. If interest rates go up, when the rates rise, the rents rise, right? Just something I've seen this week alone. 40 people into an open home, $50 a week. I have this property, right, that's in the shittest suburb of Sydney. Shittest, right? I don't even fucking like driving there, right? I don't want to go to this property. It's shit. I bought it for 130 grand. It's worth like 450, 500 now. It's rented. It was rented for $200 or 180 bucks. It was rented for 160 bucks when I bought it like all years ago. It's been rented out recently for like 300, and I had to drop it once at 280 because the market got very soft. I had a tenant move in there 6 months ago. They just moved out $300. It put up to 360. Now I've got people lining up. They want to pay $400 a week for this thing. I'm like, who the fuck? I don't want to drive to see my property, let alone living in the thing and paying $400 a week for it. But why? Because the market is forcing that. Why is the market forcing it? If people can't go and buy in this bubble, well, then they're going to go rent in this bubble and create a new rental bubble. So as the rents rise, well, then the rates rise, the rents rise. So, look at that opportunity. If you bought 10 properties and your rent's risen $100, that's $100 times 10. That's $1,000 a week. That's 50 grand a year. That's going to help you out with inflation. That's going to help you out, tell your boss where to go and give you an extra income stream. So, that's something to look at. Smart investors, let me just put it out there. Smart investors do not buy at the top of the market. Love Donald Trump or hate him. I'm sure that, if you go and have a chat with him, that he wouldn't say, oh, yeah, I'll wait until the market reached the highest peak and I thought, shit, I better have that. No, he would have made his deals based on that. If you look at Warren Buffett or Elon Musk, they don't go and wait for the things to go and go, well, Coca-Cola's hit, whole new time, let's go buy some shares in that, right? Smart investors wait for the opportunity to take action, right? Be mindful of that. And I guess, just closing off, remember 2020, why didn't you take action, right? This is an opportunity that's coming in like that. We're going to find these recessions happen quicker and shorter and closer together to each other. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Right? This is an opportunity to go and take advantage of that. I'm just thinking if I had any other notes. I guess I'm done with any notes. I've come from not from the notes. But, over the years, I think the largest portfolios that I have seen, the most successful investors that have been created are the ones that have come out of tough times, right? The ones that come through easy money. Any idiot could have made money in the last 2 years, right? You'd have to be incapacitated, not to be able to make money in the last 2 years, right? Literally, I've seen the quality of advisors, the advice, the brokers. It's like something off The Big Short. You'd have to be incapacitated to not be able to make money in the last couple of years. This market now that we're heading into, the strongest of the fittest of survival, right, is what we're going to see right now. We're going to see the strong ones come from this. So, think of it, right? Be diligent, be educated, be, proactive, and, understand your game, understand what is your goal, what is your vision. You can sit there and be like, oh, yeah, market's going to be scary. I watched the news and the bald man on there told me that fucking interest rates are going to go to 50% and everyone's going to go bankrupt. Be logical about it, guys. Be logical. Have a plan, have a strategy. If you need help on that, you can always reach out to us, 1300-367-925. Email us at admin@binvested.com.au. There's probably some sort of link around this video or podcast that you can go and click on to get to us. But one last thing, right? This is a little pump for me to give you something or to sell you something, actually. I don't sell too much shit in any of my podcasts. That I did a mentoring program before what we've seen in the last 2 years, 3 years, and it's called the Raw and Uncut Mentoring Program, which I literally gave about 100 hours of content like these podcasts. I've never spoken about a lot of this stuff since. A lot of the stuff was very new out then, and a lot of it was weird, right? And it sounded really strange, right? But nowadays when you hear it, it's like, oh, well, that sounds really basic, right? But I actually put out a lot of data, a lot of knowledge, a lot of resources in this mentoring program. And it was $8,000 beforehand for the mentoring program. After the mentoring program, I made it $3,000 so everyone could get access to it because it was very sought after. And for this month of July, I have decided to put it out there. There's got to be some hurt money on it. $299, right? There's probably a link somewhere in the description that you can get access to it. Be very careful online that there's scammers trying to pretend to be us to try and get you to, add you and try and start a conversation. But there will be a link. Go follow the link to this, from this link, to get access to the mentoring program. It's called Raw and Uncut. It's $299. It's got over 100 hours of content, talking about things, anything about property investing, anything about different sort of markets. A lot of stuff has transpired. So when you look at this, I'd say 50% of the mentoring program is like information that you could use 100 years from now. And then 50% of it was stuff that was relevant at the time that we would see happening before we go into a depression, right? If you don't think you're in a depression, right, just think about this. Has your lifestyle gotten better in the last couple of years? You might feel richer, but go and fill up your car. Go and, pay for food. Go and look after your family, right? We are heading into a depression, right? You are not buying what you used to. This is a hyperinflationary depression. I talked about this 5-6 years ago. People laughed at me, called me a dickhead. I had people unsubscribing, people not wanting to do business with me because I talked about stuff that was going to happen. Access to it. If you want to get it, $299. I'll leave it over to you. Catch up soon. If you need anything, reach out to us. You know where to find us. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it. The dollar about to die, soon to be hyperinflated. This my 2 cents, don't care if you save it. Joint be decentralized and you will see you've been lied to the whole time, and it's the irony, cause they do the exact opposite. You become a slave to the system, enough your money, all they do is profit. There's no conspiracy theory, you better hear me. Crypto will set you free before the system does. I don't care if you do or you don't, but what I'm saying is the truth to the reason you choke. I never been a failure, excuse my behavior. Keep talking, haters doing me a favor. They all telling lies, I know what they been telling you. I'm the opposite of Donald Trump of Australia. It's amazing, there for the taking, my time is never wasted. Yes,